But over that
Peter
course,
and I had a very hard time distinguishing our line between professionalism and relationships.
If you
can't
I was
tell.
going to say the proof is in the pudding, but the proof is in the belly.
Proof is in the pudding.
Whoa.
Restaurant Punk, what's up?
Restaurant Punk!
What's up, everybody?
What is up?
Welcome back to the channel.
I have a really Sour Patch Kid in my mouth right now. I didn't know we were starting so quickly. Restaurant Punk.
Restaurant Punk. What's shaking, guys?
We're back.
You look very, I don't know, for some reason I think Breaking Baddie. I could just see like
look at these.
Heisenberg
Cowboy
wearing
Nick.
Look at
that.
these fucking Cactus Canyon over here. Cactus Nick.
Oh, man. All right.
Going on?
So,
I love it.
I also really love it.
I do like that shirt.
Yeah, me too.
do.
This is
I
new.
do.
This is a new look, I think. I think
Yeah,
this is
and
like the new direction.
Is this shirt punishment?
No, not for me. I'm
No,
into
but
it.
it was meant to be, right?
No, I don't know.
And now I just want to kind of take it
know what
home
you're
and be
talking
like, I'm
about.
sorry, we lost it. And then they see me out at Borgata in like a month and a half wearing that shirt.
it's fun.
All right.
Love
So I have a topic,
Okay.
and I don't know. I'm just kind of curious, but we've all been bosses, owners, whatnot, right? We've all had employees working under us. There's always a thin line of when you work with somebody for so many years, you sometimes develop friendships, right? And it's hard to distinguish that line. But over
Peter
that
and I
course,
had a very hard time distinguishing our line between professionalism
yes,
and relationships. If you can't
I was
tell.
going to say the proof is in the pudding, but the proof is in the belly.
Proof is in the pudding.
Whoa. But there has been many instances over the past
It's bullshit.
Okay. Anyway.
over the past like 20 years, where even longer, 20 years, that I've been a boss to people in Philly, front of house, back of the house, everything. Worked with them for a while, and then that line starts getting distinguished, and employees start sharing too much information sometimes, and it may involve people in the restaurant, and then starts becoming intermingling the personal part of it. Do you know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
are you saying that your
So-
employees are sharing too much information about you to other employees, or
No,
your
just
employees
sharing,
are sharing
too
like,
much
about
non-work
everybody?
information, gossip. They're just blah 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 blah, gossip, and maybe to the boss, maybe to the other employees, but it starts reformulating the ecosystem at that point. How do you handle things like this with employees? Because there's only so much that, meetings and rules and this and that, but when it comes down to gossip and it starts, sometimes it becomes contaminated a work environment. How do you avoid that? Because I've seen it happen in Philly. I've seen it happen. I'll give you
I've been
three
accused
examples
of
where
it.
it's happened. It's happened with in-house relationships. It's happened with just two people that hate each other and bicker, and then people choose sides and go like that. Or it just becomes a very friendly work environment where you get taken advantage of. I've seen it in all shapes and forms. I've seen a restaurant literally close down because of one of the above. But how do you handle these situations? Because it's really hard to navigate as an operator, keep respect, and keep your staff efficient.
Yeah. I think it's always going to be really difficult, especially when you have like a smaller place.
The
Like if you're
smaller places are the
Yeah.
worst.
If
It's
you're operating
so
with
hard.
a really small staff, then you really get to know everybody on a more personal level. You know all the things that they do on the side. You know that they went out last night.
Yeah.
You know who they went out with. And then you hear all the little stories and shit that are going on around.
Yeah.
And you hear everything that's going on in everybody else's life.
But does that make your opinion of them biased based on everything that you've heard?
No, I mean, look, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you're either going to have, quality employees that, you enjoy working with, or that, are going to do the job correct, or you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're either going to be good employees that are actually doing their job, or they're not. And I think sometimes, even working in a smaller spot where maybe you can have a more personal relationship with some of your employees, I think that sometimes can be an advantage as an owner. Because now I can go to an employee directly and be
Yeah.
like, yo, listen. And it's I could be a little more personal in it, and then like you really can understand like where I'm coming from. Whereas like if it's unpersonal, you're just like, oh yeah, well that's just like, like let's say you work in a larger spot.
I understand what you're saying with a small staff. I'm sorry to cut you off on that, but what happens if you have a larger staff too? Now there's favoritism.
Well, this is going to be a problem too. Whenever you have when you're going to have larger groups of staff, you're going to have to deal with more bullshit. Always, because you can't be as particular. I think like when you have a smaller staff, I feel like you can be a lot more particular about like who's there.
I'm sorry, but even if you have larger staffs, there's always going to be that favoritism and there's problems because when you have a larger place and you have a larger staff, you're still going to have those people that you pick. I'm sorry, but X, Y, and Z have to be the weekend crew because they are the most stable people. And then like everybody else who are on the weekdays who want those weekend shifts, like they're like, well, shit, I want that. Like you already play favoritism no matter what, right? Like
is that favoritism based on?
But
based
for
on
me,
like how you feel about it? Or?
No, for me, it's based on performance. Because like I said, or you were even saying like smaller establishments, you hear all the bullshit.
Yeah.
You hear who they were going out with or what they were doing. I don't care if you were out until 6 o'clock in the morning and you were putting whatever up your nose. As long as you're showing up and you're clean and you're ready to go and you're doing.
You said you're putting favoritism based off quality of work, right? How many places have you worked at where the boss give favoritism for many other reasons other than quality of work?
Oh, I've worked plenty.
Yeah. And that goes with the type of boss that you have.
I've worked and in our own restaurants where that has happened. Like where I see an employee working on like a money shift that I'm like, how are you here? You've never picked up shifts for other people. You have constantly called out and everybody's covered you. You constantly show up late or leave early or have some kind of excuse to not be a team player.
Now, what does that make you think of the operator of that restaurant for letting that happen when there's plenty of other people that could have those shifts?
It's one of those things where like...
And that's what I'm trying to handle.
Yeah. It's one of those things to where like we've bitched on multiple occasions and there's multiple employees who have like raised their voice on it, and straight up that operator was just like, listen, they've been here since day one. They have helped me, and like they might not have helped this summer, but they've helped out many binds last summer. And I'm like, really? Because I've been here for 3 summers.
Is that an excuse?
No, it's absolutely an excuse, but
it is an excuse? You would do that?
I think it's a bullshit excuse.
I feel like if people go like this, they can plateau and they can stay as long as they stay kind of like that. But if they start going like this, there's no reason to hold them up to what they were. You got to hold them accountable for the change.
I couldn't agree more. But like, listen, from an operator point of view, I personally, like, I've looked at people who I'm like, wow, you were great day one, but like day 365, you're not where you were. And I have someone who might be 2 weeks in and they're better than you. I have to put them where they need to go.
Well, it's just like
for the betterment of the business.
The first couple months or the honeymoon stage, it's always going to be at that high.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same with employees. We get a new cook, a new server, a new this, that, the other thing. You're going to see the best version of themselves. And it's always going to be like this and keep going up. But it's when they get comfortable, it shows their true colors. And that goes with the whole work environment and everything is you got to handle everything.
And I think having that conversation, and like you said, like you can have an advantage of being in a small environment to be like, listen, I love that you're comfortable here. And I love that you're comfortable with me being your boss. And I love that I'm able to be comfortable with you. But in this instance, it sucks because I have to let you know you're not performing up to par. And I can't lose other employees, or I can't make this looks bad to other employees if I keep doing XYZ for you. Not that anybody's coming to me with this. As your employer, I'm noticing this.
Right.
So either get it to like, talk to me, what's going on, get it together. These are the improvements I need to see. But if this doesn't get better, then there's going to be repercussions, and it has nothing to do with like you personally, because personally I want to come to you with this and make sure that you're doing okay.
And I know we've had episode in the past where we talk about people getting close in restaurants and relationships and all that, but I don't think we've ever talked about cutting the relationship out of the way. How do you handle it? Because I know, like, when I worked in Philly, I'm like, okay, I have the staff, this and that. If I want to fire you, I can get somebody else. But when you don't have a choice and you have to fix it, like, you just have to be as direct and real as possible. I mean, there's nothing else that you can do. It doesn't matter whether or not you really like somebody. Or you can like a member of your staff as much as you want, but I mean, if they're not performing or you need to replace them for some reason, you just have to be real and honest with them. But you've gotten into the points where you're like, you know what?
I've had a conversation recently with somebody that I really enjoy, on my staff. And I'm like, listen, at this particular point in time, there are other people that are upholding their end of the bargain here. And I love you. You're great. You've done nothing but, good stuff for me like the whole entire time that you've been here. But I'm going to have to, unfortunately, cut your shifts down. If you want, we can talk about other alternatives for you. But at this particular point in time, I have to focus on other people that want the job, that are actively being here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow, I feel honored that you're cutting my hours right now. That was actually very nice. I actually feel bad for you.
No, but I mean, I've been honest with people and just been like, unfortunately, I have to cut your hours back because you're just not doing it. And then you know what?
Transparency is gold, man.
And you know what? They were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
you know
what I'm
what the
saying.
fuck's
Like,
going on.
you could, having those like transparent conversations, like there might be something going on to where like they literally can't perform to that level, and you giving them that cut, like, could benefit them in some kind of way. And again, it could also push them. It could also, like, it could do so many things. But the problem is, and I think where you're kind of stuck is that like when you're so close with someone, or maybe you've turned a blind eye to it for so long that you're like, oh shit, like how do I now fix it, I guess. But it also comes down to like people like Nick, like he's there randomly at like 2:30 in the morning to go check his fridge temperature. You know what I mean? Like he's always at his restaurant.
Is that an exaggeration or is that true?
No, it happened one time.
I was there one
So
time.
it's true. Just letting everybody know out there.
But now I have it now I have it so I can just like go to the app and I can see like what.
I was going to say you need a Bluetooth thermostat, but you got it.
Now I can tell.
But it's one of those things to where like Nick is there all the time, so he can consistently, like on a daily basis, review like the decline, so like he can catch it quick. To whereas I feel like a lot of these problems happen when the operator isn't there 24/7 and they don't see the issue, and then when it comes up, they're like kind of blindsided, like, why are you coming to know this person's been great from day one? It's like, yeah, but you haven't been around to see what the fuck they're doing.
I think it's hard to.
Sometimes it's hard too as like an owner, right? Sorry. Like, but
no, we're good.
Sometimes as an owner, sometimes you're forced to make decisions, right? Because even if you have somebody on your team that's, let's say, isn't as strong as a performer, okay, and really, technically they should get replaced. And then, you have members of your staff and they really don't understand, why X has a job. Like, why does this guy have a job? Like he's really shitty at his job. But, there's certain perks that maybe not everybody else is seeing, that sometimes the owner, as an owner, you have to make a decision. You're like, well, X actually shows up one time.
Yeah.
And he's here, 6 days out of the week. Like he's on his schedule. The guy, maybe his car breaks down and he still shows up to work. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Is he the best at his job? No, but I know that he's reliably going to be here.
So that goes
now if I
down
have
to
find-
Yanni's point is I don't want the best server in the world who doesn't touch each table. I want the person that makes the connection, and they could be the worst server ever, but as long as they make that connection with the table.
I feel like as long as you're the owner and you are aware of why, even if that person is performing below standard and you are completely aware as to why you still have them on your team, or like what their downfalls are, it falls back on like owner accountability, right? And I was just having a conversation about this with somebody else. There's so much more respect in sitting there as an owner and being like, yeah, I know, but it's because of this, and this. That's why. But if you're like somebody that sits there and you're like, oh, well, I don't know. There's no respect in that.
To me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or again, just being like, well, they've been here since day one. It's like,
that's never.
Okay, like that doesn't mean shit.
Right.
But like having something to back it up, because if you go to that, let's say like you have two employees coming to you and they're bitching and they're like, why did XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, hear me out. They also did this. And like you said, you can list it off and you're like, these are my reasons. Like, and I know that they're not, like, you might not see eye to eye, but as an owner, it's important for me to keep them on. Mm-hmm. But let me see if I can like work with them also and be like, let me see if I can shift something around. Like maybe you guys aren't compatible working the same shifts.
That's always
let me see if I can shift some things around if it's not
Very
working.
true. Yeah.
And I've had experience too, like anytime like there's been somebody like that's like really complained or they're like really vocal about something, that makes me kind of like redirect my attention to like that person. Because it's like I find that like the higher performers tend to just not vocalize the same thing about somebody else's performance.
Yeah.
They're busy focused on what it is that they're doing, so much so that it doesn't matter what X is doing to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
they're cruising. They're doing their fucking job. They know that the owner knows that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like the other guy that's like, well, blah, 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 didn't do whatever, and you're like, well, you got a fucking problem. I know right now. Like, what are you fucking doing?
Exactly.
So like, I've seen that.
One
too.
piece of advice. I know we're running out of time, but the one piece of advice, and we actually had him on the show a couple months ago, a year ago. Danny Marcantino, one of my chefs from Philly, and we're working in the restaurant one day, and he's like, I'm like, how do I get promoted? Like, when I was young, I was like, I just wanted to. He's like, if I don't notice you're around, that's the best compliment. And that's what's going to make you grow. He's like, because that means you're doing such a good job. Nobody even notices you're there. Like, you don't do anything bad. Everything's going out on time. Everything's good. He's like, if I don't notice you're there, you're doing everything perfectly. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
And you know what? I was promoted to chef within a year and a half after that. So he didn't notice me. And
that's when Peter started showing up to work in camouflage.
yeah. but it always stuck with me. So, and I've said that to many people. I think I even said that to the beginning YB staff, from Brandon Stickle, Emily, Zach Zeitler, Louis Ginsburg, like everybody. I don't know. I just always remembered that. So, so if you don't get noticed at work, you're doing a great job, guys.
Yeah. But anytime anybody's ever come up to me complaining about somebody else, I can sit there and I can be like, well, what about this, and this that, you fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, and you think that I don't see it?
Yeah.
Because I see it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm tolerating it now doesn't mean that I don't know that it's happening.
Yeah.
And I straight up, I tell them point blank, be like, I know, you know that I know, right? Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, I know exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you get that?
And I think there's like the difference is when like you have a larger staff than like most of our restaurants at George's, right? And I think even like at the one establishment that like I was talking about, it was hard because there was maybe 5 servers total, like total. And all of them were like such team players. Everybody covered each other. Everybody was like the A team. So when that one person was falling short and like everybody's like, why is this other person like up here when literally all of us are carrying the boat? But then like when the season came around or whenever this came around, like, why are they prioritized every single time?
Right.
And there was never a valid reason. And then it was just everyone's like, all right, well, we still want the shifts that we want because we still want to get money. So like you can't really complain much further. And then even then, I'm pretty sure she's still in the group chat.
Yeah, probably.
This year, like it just doesn't make sense. But I do understand, like when someone comes with problems, half the time it's like, okay, you're the problem child. Like I've noticed that like in so many different circumstances to where it's just like almost like you're trying to take it away from yourself and like put that blame on someone else. But it's hard when you have such like a strong staff and there is that problem child to where you are very close with them. Again, as an owner, you just have to take the accountability and have that conversation to be like, listen, look at everybody else around you. Here's everything that they're doing correctly. Like you said, you need to start stepping it up. And like, in the meantime, I have to pull back. Like I have to do right by everybody, just like I did right by you for so many years.
Right.
And like, you have to be understanding. It really just comes down to transparency.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Why we got into that? I'm kind of curious. No?
What?
What? Fair enough.
Liz has her opinions.
Fact check. Were we right or were we right?
Well,
Restaurant Punk.
Nick has to get back to his agave.
I have to get back to my agave farm, guys. Much agave to harvest.
Oh, shit.
Very busy.
It was a pleasure.
All right, cool.
All right, well, yeah.
Cool beans. All right.
Restaurant Punk. We are
Out.
out. This is the shirt that you picked. So now you have to deal with the repercussions of the shitty shirt you did.
What you got? What do you want?